Welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am the professor with my co-host, as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm good. How are you, Professor?
I'm absolutely perfect. I mean, I'm not, but
I was going to say you're a nut.
I am a nut. There is no doubt about that. So I thought this week we would kick this up a notch, and we're going to talk about medical mandates of the lovely jab or shot, or because I don't know if we can call it the word and get away with it, because I know that there's rules when it comes to that kind of thing, but we'll say the jab or whatever we end up calling it. We'll see.
An inoculation.
But it's not. This isn't an inoculation because it doesn't cure it. That's part of the problem, that I think that they sold this shit saying that if you get these, you're never going to get it, which we both know is absolute bullshit.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about something that happened in New York. We'll just kind of get this out of the way real quick because I thought it was kind of interesting.
Okay.
They had a protest in New York. It was basically frontline people. It was medical people, nurses, police, EMTs, people who don't think that they should have to get it to work.
Right.
Because I don't know, we live in the United States and we're free.
Are we?
These days, for goodness sakes, that's a great question. But if you can believe this, they actually shut down Brooklyn Bridge for, I think it said an hour or two.
That's awesome.
Like it was like 1,000 people showed up.
Really?
Yeah, it was a lot of people. And it could have been more, but I heard for sure that it was like 1,000, which is, I mean, to shut down a bridge is kind of interesting.
It makes a statement, that's for sure.
It does. And mostly it's the people. So if you can believe this, the police that had to go and make sure that this was not getting out of hand there were other police protesting that work for New York police. So I found it kind of interesting because they want everyone to get vaccinated. Obviously.
Right. Who's the they though, when you say that?
Well, in New York, it's the governor.
Okay.
Based on the mandate of the national, the actual government. The government wants a mandate and it kind of wants to roll downhill. And it's a lot of things, but they want frontline workers, nurses. This is all coming from, I want to say the White House, but it's coming from our government, that they want this to be mandated. So they have to get it to work. And a bunch of these unions are now threatening legal action over this because they're like, look, you can't make us do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like a mandate is not a law.
Right.
That's part of the thing that these people need to actually look at. It's a government mandate. We can't, the government can't just tell us what to do. I think there's something that we need to understand as people. We're human beings. That what they want to do is take our jobs away. And they say, if you don't listen to us, you don't work anymore. And if you don't do this, you can't go into the supermarket and you can't buy food, because if you don't have a vaccination or a mask or blah, 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 you can't do it. I think we're, again, my favorite word, this is a very slippery slope. Because when you get to this, how much power do you give the government?
I think they already have too much.
I agree. I think the government is way too big, and we need to, mostly the federal government. The federal government's way too big. The way that this country was designed was the states had their own power anyway. The federal government was only supposed to make sure that people weren't killing each other and fix the roads. like literally, it was, there's not a lot that we've given the federal government way too much power, which we just need to take away.
I agree.
Because here's the thing, when it comes down to this nonsense, we're going to fire doctors and nurses who literally for the last 2 years fought this shit with no jab.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to say, hey, we have this jab, and if you don't get it, we're going to fire you. What kind of fucking nonsense is that? You know what I mean? Like you're going to go from a hero to zero because maybe you just don't believe in it.
And aren't we still technically in a pandemic where we need those people to be in those places doing those things for us because of how critical our care needs to be?
I mean, you would think.
I mean, I don't watch TV and I don't pay attention to all that, but that's what I thought they were fighting us on, you know, to keep the numbers
frontline
down.
Workers helping the people who are sick.
Right.
And if you don't want to get it, okay, if you have got the jab, you can get it, right? If you don't have the jab, you can still get it. So what is the reason to get it?
Is to not get it so bad. Was when I asked the question, that's the answer I got. Is so you don't, so that it doesn't kill you. It'll maim you. It just won't kill you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, like, I don't want to make this a political fight because I don't think that's what it is. I think it comes down to freedom of choice. We all have freedom of choice, and you can't have, if you have a business, the government shouldn't be able to come to you and go, well, if people aren't vaccinated, they can't come into your store. Well, why not? It's my business. If I want to let everyone in, if I want to, you know, a 3-legged man come in my store who's got a nasal drip and, you know, MS, I should be able to. You know what I mean? Like, it comes to the point where, like, I understand if we're going to end up having storefronts that say vaccinated only or everyone. And we're just dividing more and more of this nation.
I agree.
Know, 41 million or 45 million people don't have the shot. So almost half of the United States doesn't want to get it. Mm-hmm. So when you start making people do stuff, people do crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like if it's like during the beginning of COVID, I saw a great meme that it was a gun safe and it had like a shit ton of ARs in it. And it had like 20 handguns and it had like, and I'm not joking, like 130 round magazines loaded. And all the meme said is, don't worry about it. I'll get my toilet paper. So that was just a joke about toilet paper. Could you imagine when it comes down to food, what people are going to do? I'm telling you, bad things could come from this over the point of the government overreaching their power and saying, if you don't believe what we do, then we're just going to lock you out. Look at Australia right now. Australia is going to implode on itself. They're literally telling people, like, they're going to fine you if you don't get it. You can't go out to the market and shop because you don't have this. It's going to become a socialist country where if you don't believe the government, then, you know, too bad. They don't even have a constitution. It's the government rules there. It's like, and they took away guns. So guess what? Can't fight the government now.
Right.
That's the only thing that keeps the government here in line is that there's 400 million guns in this country. And that's not the military guns. That's personally owned guns in this country. So yeah, they're scared. So when shit goes sideways, the people with the guns are going to do crazy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll trust me. I'll get a can of soup from the market. If it comes down to feeding my son and feeding me, I will tell you, I will get what I need to get. And people don't want to hear that shit, but wait until it gets to that, because some crazy government official says, if you don't have a vaccination, you can't do this, or you can't make a living. Okay. Well, you better be careful about that.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they shouldn't. Come on, the government stretch on everything that they are now getting their hands on has gone so far beyond what their job even is to have. Like they're not, or to do. They've totally lost sensibilities, and we as people aren't really doing anything about it. I'm glad to hear that they did that in New York. I think that we need to start doing that everywhere.
Yep.
And let's not go back to like when they were breaking into storefronts and stealing things, like just really peacefully going, enough is enough. Change needs to happen. We need to fix these things. Workers that have been doing it for the last 2 years shouldn't have to do freaking anything.
No. These people are
Period.
heroes. They did shit that no one else wanted to.
And they were scared. And they were scared.
I mean, I have 2 friends that are nurses that were giving tests to people.
Yeah.
And saw them come in sick. I have a friend who works at a COVID ward, so it's a whole other thing. But yeah, like it's real. I'm not one to say, oh, this isn't real. Like, yeah, it's real. And yes, it's killing people. Unfortunately, it is. But the flu kills people every year. And if you look at the numbers, the flu for the last year, it was like nothing. So you're going to tell me that the flu just went away, and people were like, well, it went away because people are wearing masks. Well, if that's the theory, why are they still getting COVID?
Right.
Because it's the flu. It's the flu on steroids, though.
But again,
yeah.
the mask thing is such that to me, it really bothers me because first of all, it gives people a false sense of safety. And we've heard that the cloth and everything else that they're using, it is not woven tight enough to keep the virus from coming through. It's just not. And then, okay, so we have to wear these things for this. It's giving people a false sense of security, first of all, because the ones that are afraid are like, oh, I'm good. I'm wearing my mask, so I'll be okay. And then on the flip side, it doesn't work, but we're told that we have to because it does. But the scientific evidence proves that it doesn't. Like we're forced to do these things that just don't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's look, and again, I'm going to use something that, again, this is more humor than it is anything, but my underwear doesn't hold a fart in. and it's so if I wore a mask on my ass, it's not going to hold that in. It's still going to get through. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness, you did not.
and look, this was more being funny.
I get you.
But there is something to that. Like
you're right.
You're still going to smell my horrible fart. And yes, does it probably help with droplets flying all over the place? Yes. But if I like our president, I just saw today or yesterday, he coughs at a press conference, literally coughs into his hand, and then walked down the stairs with no mask on and started shaking people's hands with the hand he just coughed into. It's like, look, it's nonsense. Like,
right.
Our immune system is built to stop these things. It just is. Someone of my age, I still have like a 99.6% chance of survival.
Okay.
So why get it? Yes. Do I want to get a cold and be, sucky and look, I don't want to die. No one wants to. Let's throw that part out. No one wants to get this and die. If you're over a certain age, I think you should get it because your immune system isn't the greatest anymore. Like my mom got it. My dad got it. And it makes sense. It does. It makes sense. And and great for them. And that's a personal thing. And their personal opinion was their doctor said, you should get this. My mom, for sure, because she has health issues and they told her, like, you get this shit, you're going to die. So yeah, go out and get it. Now, people you might look at it from a personal standpoint too, where, you know, people are getting mad at them like, you're not going to get it. You're going to kill grandma.
Right.
And again, I try to see both parts of it for our show. I try to see both parts of it. Yes, I agree with that. There are issues with that, but everything is still a personal preference. It doesn't mean I want to kill grandma. I just don't want to get a vaccine that I don't think is tested enough. If people are like, well, you know, it's FDA approved. Look up the shit the FDA has approved. Seriously. It will blow your mind. The shit that they approved that then these medical companies ended up getting sued over because it screwed somebody up. So the FDA isn't the the
end all be all.
Yeah, the top-notch organization you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, it does help that we have somebody looking over things. But do you know who funds the FDA? Big Pharma. Yeah. So the companies that are funding the FDA to approve drugs are drug companies.
That's crazy.
Yeah, do the math. So I don't want to say that they're the end all. Look, it's great. And again, you know, get the vaccine if you want. Don't get it if you don't want to. I'm okay with that. And if I don't want to get it and I get sick, it's on me. But you can't tell people what to do because what's next?
Mm-hmm.
Because when the governments that have taken power, when they take shit away from you, you never get it back. Never. Because once they take it from you, they're like, well, they gave it up.
Yeah.
That's why people fight for guns in this country. When people start trying to take your shit away, they're like, no.
Right.
But with a gun, when you come to take it, you get shot. So people are less likely to go banging on people's doors looking for guns. But with this, I just think it's a scary thing that we want to get rid of medical people. People who literally risk their lives on a virus that they didn't even know what the hell it did or anything. This was like, it was a huge thing that people who dedicated their life to saving people or making sure people are comfortable if they're sick, nursing them back to health, are now public enemy number one. You're an asshole if you don't get it. You should be fired. Go away.
Yeah, that's totally wrong.
Wait a second. Like, no.
Weren't they just called heroes like a month ago?
Well, at least 5 months ago, they were heroes.
Okay.
Before we had a jab. Once the jab came in, they became not heroes, which is absurd to me. And I think that there's a bigger problem in society now where we're just pitting each other against each other.
Yeah, and the fight doesn't even make sense anymore.
Well, no, because if I hear follow the science one more time, you need to follow the science. Okay. Science changes all the fucking time. And there's doctors who don't believe in it. Why? There's scientists that say, I wouldn't get it. Okay. Why? So you can't say just follow the science. That's such a loaded thing. It's like the last big vaccine that I want to say it was mumps. I don't think it was polio. It took like 7 years to make.
Yes.
This took 7 months. And you wonder why people are like, nah, I don't think I want to take this one. It's like, I don't want to be the guinea pig to see if it fucking works or not.
I agree.
So But I don't want to fight this virus either. But I think that, again, where I'm at, I take a lot of shit for it, though. Like, I'm already vitamin D deficient, so I have to take vitamin D. You know what? One of the greatest things against this virus is vitamin D.
Yeah.
I take the highest amount. I take 5,000 units because my doctor said you should take at least 3. And I said, well, I have these. They have the 5,000. Is it going to hurt me? And he goes, no, you're fine. Just don't take any more than 5,000. Perfect. I take vitamin C. I take zinc. I take a bunch of these things that we know help against this virus. I've been around people who have had it, like literally working with and swapping spit with, and I didn't get it. So, do I have a great immune system? Don't know. Am I lucky? Probably. But you know what? I'd rather be lucky than not.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. So I don't know. I just think it's a scary thought, because what's next? Hairdressers. What if they came to you and they said, yeah, no more cutting hair unless you get this? Like,
they are. They're already doing that. They're doing that to all of us. It doesn't matter what our jobs are. They're telling us you're not going to be able to go see a concert. You're not going to be able to go to a sporting event. You're not going to be able to go to a grocery store. You're not going to be able to do all these things. And then, being a hairdresser, then it goes down to you need to ask your clients if they for their vaccination card. Are you freaking kidding me? Like,
well, look at, you heard about In-N-Out Burger, right?
No.
You hear about the thing about In-N-Out Burger?
Oh, they said they wouldn't do it, didn't they?
Yeah.
I saw that. I did.
It was in San Francisco. It was kind of interesting about it as well.
Down.
They shut. Well, first of all, they fined them. They said that they had to check people who came in there, because San Francisco is ran by a bunch of nutballs. They are. That place is, it's okay to shit on the ground, but heaven forbid you go into a In-N-Out Burger without a vaccine card.
Yeah.
So they were defying the order, but I have to read to you their statement. Their statement is the greatest statement in the world, because I think they hit it on the head. It says, we refuse to become the vaccination police for any government.
Yep.
It's like, oh, wow. He goes, it's unreasonable, invasive, and unsafe to force our restaurant associates to segregate customers into those who may be served and those who may not. So what's next? You gonna start segregating people? We've already been past that. Now it's going to be, if you have it, you have to go and sit in this part of the restaurant.
Right.
It's like, if you don't even get to come in the restaurant. You have to sit outside. Like, wait a second. I mean, didn't we already do that with water fountains?
Yeah.
And
restaurants and
buses,
bathrooms and buses.
Yeah. So
I thought we were over that.
And again, I don't want to do, I'm going to do my best to not say that this is the same as civil rights in the 60s, because I don't think it is, but I think it's human rights. You have to get to a point where it's like, they made a great statement. It's not us to do this. It's like, wait a second. It says, we fiercely disagree with any government dictate that forces a private company to discriminate against customers who choose to prioritize their business. This is a clear governmental overreach and is intrusive, improper, and offensive. So whoever wrote that for fucking In-N-Out Burger, first of all, should be high-fived to the highest degree.
Right.
And truly, I'm going to make sure that I buy a double-double once a week.
Yeah, you know what? It really does make me want to go and get one. And I'm not a
does.
hamburger person.
It makes me just go, they get it that, look, stop making us be the idiot. If the federal government wants to be an asshole, be an asshole. But all we do is serve burgers.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And I think it just shows with this that, like, they're like, if you're not checking, we're going to close you down. So what they did, because they were serving people inside. It's they have a drive-through. So you know what they told Frisco? Fuck off. We're just going to open through drive-through. So they're not losing any money.
Yeah.
But they just did the biggest FU to the city government in Frisco. They're like,
I thought they had closed down altogether though.
They closed them, I think, for a day.
Oh, okay.
Because they were fining them. And it was like the first day it was like $250, and then the next day was $500, and I think it was going to go like $750. It was going to like, and then it was going to be like $1,000 a day if they kept doing it. So I think they closed it for a day, and then they reopened it the following day saying, yeah, we just don't have any, you guys can't come in and get in line in the drive-through like you probably already do anyway. Because if you've ever been around an In-N-Out Burger, they are insanely packed with drive-through
lines are
customers.
down the street.
Yeah, down the street. There's ones over by you in the valley. That one on Lassen and Balboa, that's the old school one, because they don't even they have like 3 concrete seats outside. I've seen that line literally down the street where people thought it was a turn lane and got into the lane thinking they were turning onto Lassen, and they weren't. Right. And you had to get out of it to go around them all. So they're not losing money. This isn't going to hurt In-N-Out Burger. Matter of fact, I think it's made them more popular with the people who don't agree with this. Yeah. I bet you their sales have gone up twofold because people are now going, yep, going to support In-N-Out Burger because they support non-government overreach, which I think is pretty cool. So I think that's a great thing. And like I said, it was in Frisco, which is ran by insane people anyway. Like literally, like you can shit on the street and there's an app that you can take a picture of human feces and then people will come and clean it.
Really?
I'm dead serious. So
I need to start watching the news.
Don't
at
step
least
on
once a week.
Don't step on the human feces and the needles, because you can get needles for free up there for all the dope heads. But you can't go into In-N-Out Burger because they're not checking vaccination status. It's like priorities. You know what you're probably bound to get? Some kind of weird disease from the human feces that are on the ground outside. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I just think that we're barking up the wrong tree with trying to make people do something. It's driving people. It's driving families apart. First of all, you have people who just don't believe in the same thing.
Right.
So what do? So you're already driving families apart. You're driving businesses apart. You're going to close small businesses because they don't want to do it, or people are going to start doing, like, I guess they tried to do this in France and I want to say Canada. So they said nobody can go inside a business. So you know what people started doing? If you can believe this, and it's the biggest FU in the world. People started going down on these major streets in Canada and France and sitting in the middle of the street and having picnics with their own food.
What?
Yeah, right in front of a restaurant. So basically, you couldn't drive down the street. And they just went, don't worry about it. We have our own food. F you and F the government. And wow. That's how. So what they're going to do is we're just going to put a bunch of people out of business.
Yeah.
The other people are going to get richer and richer. Amazon made more money during this pandemic than they know what to do with. It's ungodly amount of money. And don't get me wrong, and I'm not a knock on Amazon. I love me some Amazon. I love me getting a whatever I order the next day. I can't shit on it.
Right.
But it's going to become to where there is no local pizza place like down the street from you. because they're going to put them out of business. They're going to make them jump through hoops to the point where it's not worth them being open. They're just going to go, yeah, screw it. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So, and then what do we have? It's cookie cutter bullshit that if you don't go to the government owned store with the government owned this and the government owned that, it's socialism at its best. We'll be, in breadlines soon.
No. There's ways to fix this without it getting that bad.
I hope so.
They need to start. They need to start happening.
Look, we all need to stand up and say something. The people who believe in freedom and the people who don't, if you don't believe in it, great for you. But the people who are sitting on their hands right now, just going, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. No, it's not. You need to speak up. You need to go to these things and you need to close down streets and you need to tell the local government, we're going to tar and feather you. You're leaving. If you don't do this shit, we're voting you out. Yeah. The next election, you're gone. And we're going to put somebody in there who believes in the same shit we do. Like I told you before, I think we were, it might've been off air, but I make the joke of like, if this was 1776 and we didn't believe in this, they wouldn't even go to the government. They would go to your house, drag you out, tar and feather you and tell you to not come back to town. Mm-hmm. Like literally, and be like, yeah, we don't believe in this shit no more. Get out of here. So these politicians, it's driven by money, obviously, but there's no fear in them anymore. Like, and the people who vote for them get everything for free. So of course you're gonna vote in the person that if I don't have to go to work, I just sit at home when I get a check. It's like, what are we teaching people? We're teaching people to live off the government. But that sounds great until the government goes, yeah, you go get your cheese. And they're like, well, I don't want no cheese. That's all there is, cheese. And it could come to crazy shit like that. I hope not. And I think that's very dystopian, to think like that. And I do my best to not have that kind of thought process of going, we could end up in the dark times and where the government knocks on your door and we all have the same job with the same amount of money. It's like, that sounds great on paper.
No, it kind of doesn't, because it doesn't give you any drive, because you can never get anything for doing what you need to do. Of
course. No individuality either.
Yeah.
Like you can wear the black shirt on Thursday. It's like, I don't want to wear a fucking black shirt. I know. That's what we do on Thursdays. And I know, and again, I'm speaking out of term or kind of crazy, but we don't even want it to even think like that. The government already tells you what to do. Mm-hmm. I don't want that. The forefathers of this country, who weren't the greatest people in the world, but man, did they have some great ideas. The Constitution is the only thing that keeps the government in check, and they're trying to change that. It's like, no, once you get rid of free speech, we're in a lot of trouble. And that's why the First Amendment, which is free speech, is followed by the Second Amendment, which is guns. Because when they try to take the first from you, you shoot them in the face.
Yeah.
And then they go, you know what? I think you can speak. That's great. But and again, I don't think that if you speak, that there shouldn't be any kind of something that comes from that. Yeah. If you say something stupid, the people are going to come back on you, but you still have that right to say it. Mm-hmm. People are just, I don't know, they're flimsy today, and man, they're weak, and they get hurt so quickly.
A group of victims, big group of victims.
It's definitely a victim mentality. It's just like, and now it's like, if you don't believe in what I believe, I'm
offended,
and I'm going to make sure that you go away and everyone knows. And it's like, all right, do it. It's like, I can disagree with you. It's like, yeah, I don't agree with what you're saying, but you start taking away human rights from me, my right to do something. It's like,
there's going to be a problem.
There's going to be a problem. And we're taking the right away of nurses who've gone through an education process, did all this shit, saved people for 2 years, dodged this virus bug. And now we're just going to go, yeah, if you don't get the jab by October 1st, we're firing you, or November 1st. I think it's November 1st now. It's like, wait a second. Are you insane? And wait until there's no nurse to help you. Wait until you want to just go get the mole on your back looked at. Mm-hmm. But there's nobody to do it. I have Kaiser, and it's hard to get an appointment right now because they're not seeing anyone. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we'd like to do that online or over the telephone. It's like, no, bro, I got a mole I got to have looked at. What if this shit is cancerous? You know what they told me? Take pictures and send them in.
Are you kidding me?
Dead ass serious.
That's fucked.
Yeah. So, and again, I think that a good doctor, let's say it's a mole, because I have a few moles. A good doctor can look at it and go, I want to see you. So it's more of a vetting process. I think they're just like, okay. And they can look at each one and go, yeah, that we want to see you anyway, just because that one looks a little oblong. But what if I just want to get the things removed? I'm like, hey, I'll pay you. Chop these bastards off. I don't like them. Shouldn't that be part of the thing? It's like, well, yeah, but it's that's not very, very important. It is to me because I don't like the one on my eyebrow. I don't like the one on the back of my neck. So in the old days, 2 years ago, it was easy to do that. In the
old days.
You know what I mean? Like if you called the dermatologist and you said, I have some shit that I want to get taken off. You know what they said? Bring your ass in because we're going to charge you.
Yeah.
That's what they said. Bring your ass in. We'll start burning them off tomorrow because we know it's $85 every one we burn off. It's like, okay. We're just coming to a point where it's like, I don't know, like I can't believe that they're going to let medical people go. It blows me away. Mm-hmm. The policemen, you're going to tell me you're going to take a shit ton of people off the street because they don't want to get a shot. The crime is going to be out of control. You know who's going to get shot? A lot more people.
Yeah.
Just a different kind of shot. It's the one that puts you in a box kind of shot.
Right. So
I just think that it's a scary thought. And again, I don't want to argue whether the jab works or it doesn't. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about freedom of choice to, if your work wants to have unvaccinated people work for you, awesome. If you want to mix and match, awesome. But you have to understand that when you start taking away these rights from people, you're just making it worse because there's always going to be a certain amount that do and a certain amount that don't. And you can't say that getting it is for the better of the good. Well, to you, it is. Herd immunity works. So if I got it and I don't have, if I don't have the jab and I get it and I give it to somebody else and they survive it and then they give it to somebody else and survive it, it's a herd immunity. We're all getting it. And it's just like the flu, right? But the flu changes all the time. This is never going to go away. So we either live with it, but you can't go, if you don't get the vaccine, we're not going to do this for you. Mm-hmm. I just think that it's a slippery slope again of your bad things are going to happen when you start taking away the freedom of choice.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, what's next? What's next after this is, it's kind of like abortion. And again, I don't want to throw that one into this. We should do a show on abortion for sure. Whether you believe in it or not, you have to be careful with it. It's still someone's choice.
Somebody's body. It's their own body.
Correct. I have my issues with abortion and what I believe and what I don't. But again, when you start talking about, again, that is life, and maybe it's a little different, but choice is a hard thing to take away from people because we've had it for 250 years. choice.
Mhm.
We've probably had it longer than that. I'm just going by when the United States was founded. Choice is, and I don't know. It's a hard thing. Could you imagine if they went to you tomorrow and they're like, yeah, you can't drive to Arizona anymore. It's like, well, I like Arizona. I have friends who live there. No, not anymore. If you live in the state of California, we're not letting you leave the state of California anymore. That's choice. You can't take away basic human choice.
No,
I don't think.
We're supposed to be able to move around this country freely. We're supposed to be able to do it without them telling us we can't walk into a place. That's just the way it is.
I totally agree. So we should probably wrap this up because we're getting close to our lovely time, as always. My final thought is freedom. That's it. There's not much more I can say. I just look, take care of yourself, work out. Obviously, the same thing with this virus is there's people are dying from certain things. Obesity is one of them. It's not a good thing. It's killing people with lung issues. Don't smoke. Get healthy. It's going to be no different than the show we talked about with the erectile dysfunction. We have to get healthier as a nation. I think that's a better thing. That these people should be, instead of saying, just get a shot, you should be like, hey, go work out, go outside, be healthier, do something to get better, to better yourself. That's my own thing. Just, freedom. We need freedom of choice.
I agree. And we need to really worry when our government is literally stepping on our toes. And that's what's going on right now. So
ouch.
Yeah.
All right. You want to do the numbers for our where they can reach us? You want to do our speech or you want me to do the speech?
I think you could do it because, you've been on one today. So go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can reach us on Apple, Google, Amazon, and Spotify. You can also find us on Facebook with Don't Get This Twisted. Please subscribe, leave messages for us, and anything else that you could like to hear on our show. Was that too much? I think that was a little too much.
I was sitting here totally entertained. If you guys could see my face, I was sitting here going, you go.
All right.
Yeah,
so yes, please subscribe. Good. We're having a great time. And again, this is an opinion show, so don't get this twisted. If you hopefully if you're friends with us, you don't get your panties in a wad and get pissy. And if you do, please talk to us. Just stop and talk to us.
Stop it.
We're somewhat grown adults. So, we're just trying to give opinions on shows, and we want your opinion. If you want to come on this show and you want to talk to us, we're more than welcome. You're a Zoom call away, and I will have anyone on this show to have a conversation with us. It's important that we all get on the same page as Americans and as humans. So saying that, I will say goodnight, goodbye, good day, whatever you're listening to this and in whatever country. I would wish I could speak other languages. I'd give you goodbye in other ones.
We could do adios.
Oh, adios. There you go. Yeah. Although we have
sayonara. Arrivederci.
Oh, dang, look at you. See, that's good.
I only speak English though.
Well, yeah, that's true. And most of the people, most of the places, although we had Italy, that's, yes. But on that, let's have a good time. Please keep listening. And if you have anything to say to us, Facebook for now. We do have an Instagram. I'm working on that and trying to update it more. Hopefully soon we're going to do a YouTube, but we're going to see about that. And thanks for listening. We really do appreciate it, even though you may be mad at us. All right, guys, we will see you in a week because, we need a little time off. I think we're going to do another Saturday show, though. I think we'll put one out. What do you think, Tina?
I'm all for it.
All righty. We will see you in a week, guys. Thanks for listening.
Have a